Hi, everybody. Today we're going to touch on choosing a good topic for your speech. I know that you've already done that, but part of my pedagogy is to have you try something, do hands-on work, and then once you've experienced it, maybe reflect on what worked and what could have been done differently so that when we talk about it, it's more meaningful. So now I suppose you have already chosen your topic, and most of you will already have done the speech. Let's look back and how you chose it. It can be a confusing thing, and the first thing that comes to your mind is something natural, something that you like. So the principle here is that you need to choose a topic that excites you so that you don't get bored or frustrated or indifferent. And at the same time, the topic needs to be interesting to your audience. Ask yourself if it's something that involves you, that engages your listeners, and finally, can you manage it responsibly with proper research, with proper preparation, planning, outlining? Try not to be redundant. I know, for example, if someone chose the topic of COVID-19 and the epidemic, the big challenge there would be let's make sure that this is not something that people have heard a million times. So let's give people a fresh perspective. So first of all, it needs to be fresh and it needs to be interesting. Um, a good topic involves you. So the textbook chapter suggests that you imagine yourself speaking successfully. What would be something about you or your life or your choices that would really spark your own enthusiasm? And so that enthusiasm is actually very contagious, and you can engage your audience if you are engaged yourself. So a good topic is one that engages your listeners, of course. So you need to think deeply and think outside of the normal realm of things that you do in college, something that you do outside of class, something that has to do with your family, with your ancestors, with your interest area. And finally, the third point is something that you can manage. It needs to be doable, it needs to be manageable, researchable. So the textbook chapter discusses a few stages of your preparation. In the discovery phase, you explore the topics and uncover which topics are promising. In the next one, exploration phase, you focus on a specific topic, a specific speech within one of those areas. And the refinement phase, you identify the general and specific purposes of the speeches you might give on any of those topics, and then write out your thesis statement. I really hope that most of you have done that. The thesis statement, remember we talked about giving a description of your speech in an elevator or at a cocktail party. When you meet someone for the first time, the person doesn't know anything about you, and you try to explain what your speech is about, what your message is about. Just say it in one sentence or two sentences. Remember that the shorter you want it to be, the longer you need to work on it. And so this whole process is going to take time. In one of my quizzes, I'm pretty sure it's in the second one, there was a question about how long do you need to prepare? Well, think about it. Think about how much time we have spent. Although this is a very condensed course, we spent a couple of weeks preparing for our very first speech, learning all the details, the process. So next time when you're asked to make a speech, give yourself that time. It says at least a week is necessary to select your topic, to do your research, and outline your speech and practice your presentation. So be realistic. Don't make plans that you cannot keep. Okay, so let's just go to the next part of our conversation. Once you've selected your topic, Let's see what else you can do. Discovering the area where you're going to focus. It's easy to do a brainstorming session if it's just by yourself. Think about the topic areas that are possibilities, throw together a list of things as a result of brainstorming. Make a list of ideas and go over each idea, refine them. So the chapter talks about an interest chart is a projection of your interests and the interests of your audience. So if you're lost for a topic, you can make a list of 9 items and answer those questions, and that will help you direct to a specific area. For example, what places do you find interesting? What people do you find fascinating? What activities you enjoy? What objects intrigue you? For example, I might say, I find Brazil to be an interesting place. We went to Rio a couple of years ago, and I could do a whole speech about Rio de Janeiro, its culture, Brazil's culture, how Bolsonaro was elected the night when we left. So there would be anecdotes, there would be pictures, but the main reason why we chose to go to Brazil was because I had been there once and it was fascinating, and I could share the things that I saw, the things that we learned and heard. What people do you find fascinating? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. What activities do you enjoy? I like learning new languages, so I could talk about that. What objects intrigue you? Objects such as, let's say, perfumes intrigue me. So you could go deeply into something that's kind of almost random, but if it excites you and you can find interesting themes, interesting texts about it, like The Perfumer, the book and the movie, that could be pretty amazing, pretty deep. What events stand out in your mind? Well, the global pandemic or any other event that has been capturing your attention, or hopefully your audiences as well. But again, make sure that it's not repetitive, it's not redundant, it's not a commonplace. What ideas do you find exciting? Well, I might, for example, talk about the idea of living in a socialist society. Pros and cons. Having an experience of living in the Soviet Union, I think I would be the one person to talk about it. And remember to keep an open mind, be prepared for audience members who disagree with you on some things. Don't try to persuade them. Just try to share what you know and what they might find fresh, interesting, and new. So ideas, you probably learn about ideas from other classes. You can explore them here. What values are important to you and your audience? These are things that you need to compare and make sure you do not create a clash. You don't offend them. For example, if you know that your audience is religious, it may include people of different religions. Do not talk about atheism. And what problems concern you most? That's understandable. The problem of learning online and the problem of what to do after college. Someone or some people did speeches on how to choose a future profession or a major. That is a problem. But the challenge will be to make it really exciting and not to do the same as everybody else. And finally, what campus concerns do you have? Like the biggest one would be, what's our campus going to be like in the future? What's the future of higher education? How is fall 2020 going to unfold? So answering all those questions, putting them on a piece of paper. Let's see, in the chapter there is a visual of that, mimicking handwriting. So you will have some idea of what's there. So that's a brainstorming idea, brainstorming process. Then on figure 6.2 in chapter 6, my interests in a column, audience's interests, and then the cross section of them would be possible topics. For example, if I'm interested in cycling and hiking, the audience might like unusual places to go because they may not want to hear about cycling, but they may want to hear about places. So the possible topic could be weekend adventures close to campus, like going to a college camp or hiking trails, or what's a good place to go bicycling. Um, Mediated prompts, you can get ideas from media, from your surrounding, from your environment. So be bold and look for those as much as you can. And since we've already done this, and you have chosen your topic, I think reflecting back at the process and how you did it, what went well, what did not go as smoothly, you will be able to see how your topics turned out. So we will learn a little bit on our success and based on our challenges. Next time when we choose the next topic, we will be more knowledgeable and we will know how to go about this a little better. So again, our learning style will be, we'll do it and then we'll look back and analyze what worked.